So just how good can the Indiana Fever be? I talked to a couple of their players, Kelsey Mitchell and Christy Wallace, to start to get those answers. Locked on Women's Basketball starts now.
Wallace for the win.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball.
Well, hi there, everybody, and happy Tuesday. I'm Howard Megdal, and I want to welcome you to this edition of Locked On Women's Basketball, where you get your first dose every day of the sport that we all love. Women's basketball, 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, on everything past, present, and future. Saturday, the WNBA draft show. So thank you for making us your first listen every day. And of course, it's not just me, it is the incredible team across the Next. Over at thenexthoops.com, you can get over 100 reported pieces on women's basketball every month. It's $9 a month, $72 a year. Normally, right now, we're offering our 27% off sale. You can get the link on that in any article we write. Make sure you are subscribing to thenexthoops.com. And I had a really interesting couple of conversations today. You heard Tony East last week, obviously came on the show. Tony's our wonderful Indiana Fever beat reporter. Well, we kind of tag teamed here today. I was on Zoom. Tony was in person over at Indiana Fever practice talking to Kelsey Mitchell and Christy Wallace. So we'll talk to Christy in segment 1, and segment 2 is going to be all about Kelsey Mitchell. I just think people are not fully appreciating how important the addition of Christy Wallace is to the Indiana Fever. Indiana Fever are a fascinating roster that Lynn Dunn has put together, and she has a type, but they're also different, by which I mean there's a certain way that they play as an ethos, and Christy Sides, the head coach, has points of emphasis that reflect that. But just think how different Grace Berger is from Christy Wallace, how different Christy Wallace is from Destiny Henderson, how different Destiny Henderson is from Erica Wheeler, how different Erica Wheeler is from Kelsey Mitchell. And having them all together, different options, different weapons based on different matchups, it's fascinating before you even get into it. And again, not everyone in camp is going to make the team, but great decisions, tough decisions, but great decisions for Lynn Dunn and Christy Sides to have to collaborate on and make. Folks like Lexi Hull, Taylor Mitchell, who was on the show recently. They all do different things, and they do them very well. But I want to just focus on Christy for a second. And just here's the simplest way to do it. She had 5.7 three-point attempts per 100 possessions last year for the Atlanta Dream in her rookie year, or delayed rookie year, unfortunately due to injuries. She shot 36.8% on 5.7 three-point attempts per 100 possessions. And you go and look at who could do that last year in Indiana. You had Alana Smith. She didn't play all that much. Obviously, a very different player, a big. Kelsey Mitchell did it. Kelsey Mitchell is her own category. 40.9% last year on 8.7 three-point attempts. How she was not in the All-Star game boggles the mind. You'd have Victoria Vivians, but she only shot 28% from three. She's going to have to step up efficiency-wise to do it. Lexi Hull was not hitting her shots last year. Crystal Dangerfield played only 3 games, 49 total minutes. And then there's Destiny Henderson, who should not be slept on. The thing Destiny Henderson's going to have to figure out is, as a point guard, what she can do about her turnovers. 23.9% turnover percentage last year. Well, what Christy Wallace does is very, very different, and that includes the ability to not turn the ball over as much, 19.6%. Erica Wheeler's terrific at that. Kelsey Mitchell's terrific at that. A lot of different players able to do a lot of different things. So here, segment one, without further ado, let's hear from Kristy. And segment two, we're going to talk to Kelsey Mitchell. I'm Howard Megdal, and you're watching Locked on Women's Basketball.
Yeah. Start any questions?
You worked with Christy Sides before, and everybody's talking about her energy today. Did you know she was going to be like that when she was a head coach eventually?
I knew what she's like. I knew what she was like as an assistant. And she brings really good energy. She brings knowledge of the game, but the best thing I love is that she's a good person. So to play for her is going to be really fun, and I'm excited with what we've done already. Sorry.
This transition up tempo, asking how much has that taken? What was day to day out there?
Yeah, I love it. That's what we need to be. We need to play up tempo to compete with these, bigger, stronger teams. So we're going to need to do that this year.
What's different about Kristy as a head coach versus an assistant? What have you seen? Just the difference with her being in that chair. What's different about how she operates?
I think she's just molded into it perfectly. She suits it. Yeah, I think that she's communicating well. She's giving us what we need. She's definitely picked this role up and she's running with it.
Is there differences philosophically? Are there things that you see that stand out that's more her than what she played under before?
Definitely energy. She wants us to bring the energy and the communication. And that's something that she brought as an assistant, but now she's expecting that from everybody. I think also that our defensive presence needs to be big this year. And so she's really focusing on that.
As you said, what kind of improvement just we've seen in a couple of days on defense? I mean, like, as far as just how high the level is, the standard. I mean, what's how is she kind of making sure you guys understand just how good you need to be?
That's right. It really just starts with our communication, but also now that we know where our spots are, we can get to them a bit quicker, and then use that communication to kind of rotate and do our thing as well.
You feel surprised to be traded, and how much did it help knowing that Christy was there waiting for you again when you did switch teams?
That's right. Yeah, I didn't know it was happening, but when I found out the news and heard that Christy was going to be head coach, I think that I was excited to play for her. Christy, again, she's a really good person, so I knew that she would only bring in good people. So I know what she's about. So I was happy to be a part of it.
Spots on the floor, the X's, the Dunkers. That's something she took from in that, or is that new style and the way you guys are trying to implement?
Yeah, we did that in Atlanta, but also I think that that's like pretty basic spacing stuff. So I think a lot of teams would do that, but now that we've got our places to be on the court, we just need to get there.
How do you think for Christy?
Kristy, Howard Megdal at the Next. How are you? Good to see you.
Hi, Howard.
Take me through, if you could, the biggest differences you see in your game last year into this year. What are you bringing to the table as sort of you think of the next level of your evolution as a player?
Yeah, I think this is different. We're obviously a young team. So maybe being an older player, maybe I can use a bit of that and my experience and just kind of communicate and just be a bit more of a leader this year. Now that it's not my first year, I've been through it before, I can kind of lead in my own way as well. And that may not be the same as everybody, but in my own way. So I'm looking forward to do that.
And specifically to that, in your initial conversations with both Kristy and with Lynn, bringing you in, was that a point of emphasis with them to talk about the ways in which, this is obviously a very young team, the ways in which you're going to be able to lead in that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had the chat with Kristy, and I think that I bring that to the table, and I can lead with my voice, but also just leading by example and doing the little things and the little hustle things and the 1%ers. And I'm hoping that I can bring that to this team and lift that in some way.
In terms of your skill set specifically, obviously your ability to create spacing with your shot, how important has that been just early on in practice, being able to see on a team where there's so much presence inside, they're being better able to operate inside because of what you can do from the perimeter?
Yeah, I think when you've got, threats on the 3-point line, I think that spaces out the floor. So bringing out the defenders and allowing our bigs to do their thing. And not only having a huge, big presence inside, it helps to have shooters on the outside. So, and we've got plenty of players that can do that this year. And I'm excited for what we can do.
couple others, obviously having Kelsey Mitchell next to you, she has sort of a singular skill set. Take me through just early on what you've seen out of that and how you guys seem to be pairing up together.
I'm excited. I'm so excited to play with Kelsey. I'm usually the one playing defense. on Kelsey. So not being able to chase her around all game is exciting for me. So to get to play with her is really cool. And I'm excited to, play with her skill set and get her some open shots and for her to do her thing as well.
And then obviously having Grace Berger in town, somebody who has a lot of versatility, what have you been able to impart to Grace early on? And how do you, see that role specifically being a critical part of what you're doing, working with Grace as she's entering the league?
Grace has done really well so far. She's a really talented player and she's going to have a really great future in the W. So far she's been doing really well. She's been a sponge really, and she's just soaking up all the information she can, and also implementing it, which is a big thing for us. So Grace is going to be all fine.
Thanks, Kristy. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time. Yes.
As far as what's that like? What makes her such a tough? What makes her tough to keep from getting to?
Kelsey's speed is ridiculous. So to just stay in front of her is really tough. Just the way she can just turn it on is pretty incredible. You can guard her all game, and then for 5 minutes she scores 20 points. So you really need to be switched on all game at all times with Kelsey. She's an incredibly talented player. So I am just excited to play with her this year.
What's about her? Change. You always have top level ability to get up and down, but when to speed up, when to attack help. I mean, that's different.
That's right.
What's impressed you about that? Her ability to be able to move around and change that.
Yeah, no, she's just able to read the game. And she can use her explosiveness when she needs to. So having that talent mentally, but also physically is really impressive. So the world's her oyster.
Appreciate it.
Locked on Women's Basketball is brought to you by Gametime. Now listen, this past weekend I was in New York City with my family. We wanted to go see some Broadway shows, wanted to get approval from my wife, my children alike. Do you like the view? It's so easy with Gametime. It's all right there. You just scroll down, you see last minute tickets. They're available for you. You can click on it. I love this. It's right in the app. You're able to see exactly not just where your seat is, but what your seat sees. It's just so easy to find and buy tickets for any kind of event in your area. Lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, you name it. All part of how you use Gametime as the place for your last minute ticket deals. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Locked on Women's Basketball, back with you in segment 2. And let's talk about Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell, someone capable of doing things on the offensive end because of the support around her. Think about all the guards I just explained are in camp here. And now think about how they facilitate Kelsey Mitchell's ability to get downhill, how they facilitate Kelsey Mitchell's ability to play off the ball if she wants, to have the ball if she wants. But my biggest thing for Kelsey Mitchell, her defensive identity has always been a critical part of who she is. But Kelsey Mitchell has not had the people around him and the system around her to be able to maximize what she's able to do. She averaged about 1.5 steals last year. I predict she is north of 2 this year. So without further ado, let's hear from Kelsey Mitchell right now.
Thanks, guys.
You changed speeds, really.
So I love K-Dub. Girl. You have a good day. You deserve it, Dub.
your change in speed being a little different this year? That's something you worked on and want to name a little bit as being able to slow it down sometimes when you need to, stuff like that.
1,000%. Combination of athletes, unlimited, and then coming back home and kind of like going back to the basics was just really getting back to my speed and agility trainer, Coach Craig Thompson. Shout out to him. We just do a lot of agility in so many, various aspects, whether that be the band around my hip and moving my feet. Just a lot of like different kinesthetics that you need to be able to play as fast and being able to slow down in certain situations. And I think for me, that's the next step to my game.
Praise be for pouring it to others.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Everybody's different. Like I said, I'm not a woman of many words, but I think for me, as long as I lead through action, and just be that support system for my teammates, I think that's my definition of pouring in. I think God put us all on this earth for different roles, and variations. So my role is to pour in a different way, and that's just to be the support system that they need and be there when they need me. So
What is that whole dynamic?
yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I guess that all these kids, they're either, I think it's 13 out of 17
Right.
first or second year. I mean,
Yeah.
what's that like? Just at least a couple of years to be around that much youth.
It's a graceful feeling, to be honest, man. To know where I started from and to know where I'm at now, all the growth and all the experience, but also to be able to take my experiences and not put that on first and second year players, but kind of be an impact and give them what I think a lot of the pros go through. And just be that support system. It's so much that happens throughout the course of one day for a pro athlete, especially at the beginning of their career, that a lot of people don't understand. It's just as small as finding a weight room or knowing where the massage room is or knowing how to talk to Todd. Like at this level, all that kind of like plays a role, and it's nothing like having an older person or a more experienced basketball player to be on your side and help you with that. Like it's a good feeling. Trust me. Yeah. I think experience tells me that. It's not necessarily them not knowing and me knowing. It's just experience tells me that if I wouldn't be the leader that I'm trying to be if I didn't express or tell them what I think they needed. You know what I'm saying?
Who are the just for you?
Tiffany Mitchell for sure. Tiffany Mitchell was one of the most decorated vets I think I've had. Her preparation was everything. And Shanice Johnson, even Natalie Achonwa play a lot of role from a logistical standpoint and just understanding how to maneuver about being a pro. And so those guys taught me how and to understand the ways about being a professional. And I think as small as it sounds, it's a big deal when you first touch a city, a state that you don't know, a team that you don't know, an organization that you don't know. And so you just try to be that for them. Really good. It's been really good, even on the court. I think our chemistry is constantly developing. It's crazy. What's 2 days, 5 practices? 2 days, 3 days, 5 practices. So on top of the open run. So it's been a really, really good. AB is just one of those people where it's like she's gonna do what's required, and she's always been the uplifter. And it's so kind of like weird to see her coming into the league, but she's already got it. Like she's a natural and she's so freaking amazing. Like like to see it on TV is like one thing, and then you see it in person, it's like, bro, like I just cannot believe that I'm playing with her now. So it feels good to be on the right side of things, and just to kind of embrace and keep influencing each other to kind of like be on the same page. Yeah, I think in a positive way, she takes up a lot of space on that role, to the point where it gives me a little bit more vision, a little bit more time to see the play that I need to make for us, not for me, not just for her, but for us and for the team. So her ability to take up space and be able to seal people is literally amazing. So I think the more and more we get into that pick and roll situation, it's such big space. It's going to be hard for people to think kind of like contain both of us at the same time.
What sense have you got from Kristy so far in terms of how much you're going to be on the ball versus how much you're going to be off the ball? She was talking a lot about setting you up off the ball, running you off the stuff and getting you open shots. You know, is that how you see this? And what are you hoping for there, and what do you expect?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just I'm expecting a little bit more like for me to be able to be in a position to make plays. Off the ball is one thing, but I think I have a good handle on like, making plays with the ball as well. And I think Coach Kristy seeks that, and she knows that if she ever needs me to kind of like take on those situations, that I'm capable of doing it. And I also think that for me, off the ball is just about finding my spots, even though I'm not on it. And so the more and more I learning, because my whole life I've been a PG. And so now 4 or 5 years in, I'm just now learning how to play off the ball. And so it's still taking some time, but I think the biggest part right now is just finding my spots.
What's bringing Erica
Yeah.
back so far? I mean, what are you expecting that dynamic to be like? How do you expect it to be the same and different than it was before?
She has leadership characteristics.
Mhm.
She's one of those ones she's been doing it for a long time, and with her experience and just being in Indiana before and then coming back and creating a culture that, she was in Atlanta, she was in LA. And so she's cultivated so much experience that for us and what she wants to do here, I think we can all kind of do it together now and take on her leadership and kind of utilize it for all these young ones.
From a floor perspective, how do you feel like you'll be better working for a second?
I think I got a little bit more experience on my belt, and I've always been able to play. I think I can play with anybody in the world, but it's just when it comes to specifically Erica, just finding out, she does that, so I do this. So just kind of like obviously that chemistry, kind of like Aaliyah Boston, just kind of always figuring out that chemistry standpoint and figuring out where my spots is with her, and where she needs me to be, and vice versa. So. Yeah, he's got to take it.
Yeah, you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Hi, Kelsey. Good to see you again. Couple things, number one, beyond Kristy, just in terms of her overall leadership, Christy Sides, I should say, to be clear. What are the points of emphasis from Coach Kristy on the defensive end early on? And, how are you seeing that implemented in practice here the first few days?
She requires what she requires. And she don't care how tired you feel. She don't care if your knees hurt. She don't care if your head hurts. She requires what she requires. And that's the dopest part about where Indiana Fever is going to go. She's already stamped gap. She's already stamped help side. She's already stamped running and getting back in transition on the defensive side. So she stamped that from day one. And so although we make jokes about it being a running practice, she's going to prepare us, and she's going to make sure that we prepare for every opponent that we play this year.
And I know defense is such an important part of your game and your overall identity, but how satisfying is it to be someplace where it feels like systematically that is a point of emphasis for the entire team?
Oh, man. I mean, she, like you said at the end, the whole team, like there's not one person that's let up the hook when it comes to defense. And it just goes to show to our culture and what we're trying to establish, whether that be from the media people, from the support group, like all of us are on the same page as far as like being present and being accounted for, and Coach Christy's not going to let you rest. So it's about doing what's required and being held accountable for that. So it feels good.
Yeah. And I know you talked about Aaliyah from a point of view of spacing and creating on the offensive end, but something that she obviously excelled at from day one in South Carolina was being in the right place at the right time defensively. How significant is her presence there already, something that you guys are able to feel in practice?
Oh man, it's amazing. Her presence in general, like I said, when she takes up a space, guys, like she takes up the entire paint on both sides of the floor. And I haven't seen that in a while. I think the last person I seen it do it consistently that I was around was Brittany Griner, and she's like 6'9", 6'8". So it's just put that into perspective about how good she is already, about knowing what she is on the floor. Like,
and then with someone like Grace Berger, who's come from Indiana, is it easier? You talked about, get into a new city, get into a new area. Is it an easier transition, you think, for her because she knows the area so well already?
Knowing the area is one thing, but I think being able to interact and move around and have motion throughout that area is a little different when she's been on the college campus for a while. Sure. But the one thing that I love about Grace Berger is the fact that she's always prepared for the moment. And when it comes down to trying to figure things out, I mean, I don't have any doubt that Grace Berger will not figure it out. Like, she's going to figure it out. And I think that's what makes her so good.
And then just the last thing, you talked about leadership being pouring into the young kids as they are
Yeah.
coming up. Give me a story, if you can, about the last couple of days, a time you poured into somebody and what that looks like in practice for you.
We had, some people just kind of like figure out just where to go and what time to be there. And so now we've created this like a constant check-in about like, hey, you gotta be here at this time. So, make sure you're there. But if you need me to take you there, let me know. We had a player or two yesterday need to go get a massage, didn't know where to go. So those small things just make life easier. And when you can lean on your teammates for certain things, that small, it makes your day, because it's like, dang, not only do I got a massage, I can't be late and I don't know where it is. So it's just as small as that kind of stuff that you find yourself helping people out with, and you become graceful about it. It's just a great feeling that you can be relied on and people look at you as a reliable, consistent person to be able to talk to.
No doubt, Kelsey. Thank you. Appreciate
Sure.
it. Always.
See you soon.
Cool.
Thanks, Kelsey.
Thank you, Howard.
For sure, guys. I'll see y'all around.
Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks, really interesting $1 million daily Superflex promotion going on right now. Every day of the NBA playoffs, right through the finals, one PrizePicks user will win a chance of becoming a millionaire. One entry placed after 8 a.m. will be selected each day. Whoever placed that entry will be given a 6-pick flex with the following payouts. 6 correct picks, you did $1 million. 5, $80,000. 4 correct picks, still not bad, $16,000. Full details can be found at prizepicks.com/million. You must opt in at this link to be eligible for the $1 million entry. Once you opt in, all you have to do is play the game like normal, and you could be the lucky winner. That's it for Locked On Women's Basketball today. I'm Howard Megdal, thanking you for making us your first listen every day. Make sure you're with us tomorrow. Allison Clayman, the director of the film Unfinished Business about the New York Liberty, is here to talk about what's the same and what's changed with her film and what's changed for the New York Liberty. Until then, I'm Howard Megdal over at The Next, wishing all of you a wonderful Tuesday.
Wallace for the win.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball.